As the people of Miller Welding and Machine in Brookville, Pennsylvania helped us discover last season in part 1 of this series, careers in welding and metal fabrication today are not what most people perceive them to be. In part 2, we're going to take a look at some of the advanced technologies that are being employed today in Pennsylvania. Humans have always seen a need to join metal together for various reasons. Ancient Egyptians heated iron ore and hammered it together. The ancient Greeks and Assyrians were also master metalworkers in pursuit of art and advanced weaponry and armor, but the processes and the equipment we've come to take for granted today dates to much more recent times. It wasn't until 1881 when Russian Nikolai Bernardos and his partner Stanislav Olszewski patented the first electric arc welder with a carbon electrode. Throughout the 20th century, advances in welding and metal fabrication fueled the Industrial Revolution, and over the past 20 years, technologies such as lasers and robotics and the advanced computers that run and direct them is becoming commonplace. Certainly, the ancient Romans could only pray to their god of fire, Vulcan, of tools such as those available today. And with new technology being invented every day, it is certain that the tools of tomorrow will continue to astonish and create even more opportunity. Today, part 2 of our look at one of Pennsylvania's most in-demand industries. This episode of Futures Fast Forward is brought to you by our friends at Miller Welding and Machine Company, Brookville, Pennsylvania. We provide our customers with high-quality parts by continually improving the processes we use, and we provide our employees a safe and satisfying work environment and invest in their futures by constantly investing in new technologies. For current news and employment opportunities, visit our website at millerwelding.com.
This machine is a laser cutting machine, and it's cutting steel plate with a laser beam.
This is a huge part of Pennsylvania's economy. Between Miller Welding and businesses like this, just around the Jefferson County area alone, they're providing over 1,200 jobs in these specialized, high-paying positions. We're taking a look at, well, what looks like a laser cutter. That's really big laser cutter. Now explain to us this technology and the specialized skills that it takes to run it.
Okay, well basically the laser cutter takes the power from the outside power source, takes the electrons, it gets them excited in what's called a resonator. At that point the electrons are focused through a series of mirrors throughout the machine. In this particular case, 10 mirrors. The electric is then focused to a final point, as you can see, being cut on the metal. Now it can cut metal, wood, plastic, just about any type of material. In this case, up to 1 inch thick. Wow. So for this particular job, we're looking for people with computer skills. Not only does the laser have to be maintained, but you also have to program the laser.
It saves some subsequent machining operations because it's so accurate.
What we do is take a single piece of metal, 5 foot by 10 foot, and we'll cut various parts out of that sheet with the laser. You'll need AutoCAD or Mastercam, some type of drawing package to draw the profile of the part, as well as something to write the NC code through the machine. In this case, we use a thing called SigmaNet.
So those are some of the background skills that somebody interested in this would need. But as far as you're aware, is there any real schooling offered specifically on these types of machines, or is this an on-the-job sort of situation?
A lot of it's on the job. You can go sent to Mitsubishi for this type of training, but the big thing is to get the background that you can, understanding how the drawings are made, how the parts are made, what type of material you're going to be dealing with, and then taking it to the level of actually putting it down onto the part. Okay, what you see here is the actual material sheet, 5 foot by 10 foot, and the intricate parts that are nested onto the sheet. And what this is showing is the laser path. The laser beam will actually follow around to cut out the various shapes.
So that's actually those lines that we're looking at, Corey, are actually the line. It's kind of like the cutter that we use at the IT Academy, where Mr. Walker will go in there and set the cut lines and Corel draw to cut out a piece of vinyl. Similar technology, right?
Similar, very similar. Instead of using a high intensity laser rather than a cutting edge or a knife. This thing will hold within 0.005 of an inch of accuracy. Very clean, minute cuts. The nice thing about this operation is it saves a lot of secondary operation. Well, you have other ways of cutting material, but then you have to take it to a machine shop, a mill, a lathe, a grinding operation. With the laser being so accurate, it saves that operation. So you can actually save time and effort by using the laser and then taking it downstream to your assemblers and maybe your robotic welding cell in some cases.
How does all this computer technology affect opportunities for those skilled in the more manual side of this trade?
Well, people are worried about it's going to take their jobs. Well, let me tell you, it creates jobs, does not take jobs. First off, all the parts that we weld with our robots, somebody had to cut the material and machine the material and tack weld the material together. And almost all of our jobs, the robot, if we can get it to do 80 or 90% of the welding, that's pretty good. So somebody has to finish it off. So now I'm doing more and more parts with the robot. It makes more and more other jobs, let alone the material preparation part of the job.
You know, one of the things that amazes me, we hear so much about Pennsylvania, especially rural parts of Pennsylvania, being very, very depressed economically, very behind the curve technologically, you know, and then you see something like this and it's like, man, here is a cutting edge company, a family run business, really reinvesting back into their community and into the region and into their employees by providing the most high-tech equipment.
And another thing too, it's so wide, but the various fields you can get into. Like you don't necessarily just have to do welding. As you're pointing out right here, there's a lot that utilizes computers and technology.
Now what's a machine like this cost?
A machine like this will go anywhere from $250,000 up to $1 million if you want to cut inch to inch and a half plate.
Don't touch anything.
I'm not touching anything.
Jefferson County, Pennsylvania is open for business with excellent tax-free building sites, a talented and experienced workforce, and business services specialized for your development needs. Jefferson County Department of Economic Development is ready to help you and your company grow and prosper. Join other prosperous companies such as Miller Welding and Brookville Equipment that have made Jefferson County their home. For more information, contact the Jefferson County Department of Development. Futures Fast Forward is sponsored in part by United Electric Cooperative. United Electric is special because it's owned by its members and is guided by a set of principles that reflect the best interest of those members. United Electric Cooperative members reside within 10 counties in PA, and the cooperative operates an electrical system that spans 7,000 square miles while employing 72 local people. United Electric Cooperative, owned by those we serve. Visit our website for updated job opportunities.
Now this is one of your robotic arms?
This is a robotic welding machine. It has 2 operations that it can do for 2 parts. We're working on 2 parts on this side of the machine, and then when these parts are done, we'll work on the other 2 parts and change these 2 parts so we can load and unload while the machine is running. So the machine doesn't have to shut off to load.
How long has this technology been around?
It's been around for some time. It's starting to get more widespread. I'd say in the last 10 years or so it's really taken off. They've gotten better at the computers and better at the technology to do it. It's now starting to get out into shops like ours. We have 3 robots right now. We have another one on order. But it takes good people to run them. We've sent our people to robotic welding school at the factory where they make them, to school to learn how to run them.
So as far as like some sort of certification or something that you could get at a post-secondary school for something like this, there really isn't
too
one.
advanced for that right now, right?
Really?
I mean, you can't do it in a secondary school, at least around here. You have to go to the factory, or maybe there are some schools, but I don't know of them yet. We have to go to the factory to do that.
Welding and metal fabrication as an industry is critical to our economy. From a complex automobile or computer to a simple coffee pot, pretty much any item that you can think of made by man was created with equipment or parts that have been welded or manufactured in a business like Miller Welding and Machine Company. This industry is unlimited, and so are the opportunities within it. Career and technical education centers are a great place to learn the basics of these advanced technologies. We can drop by Jeff Tech in Reynoldsville to see how they prepare the metal workers of tomorrow to get a great start on their career.
John Smelka, been teaching here for quite some time. He's the instructor here at this shop. He's going to take us on a real quick tour and show us exactly what it means to be in metal fabrication and welding today.
So I want to start out with our sheet metal area, which is right behind me here. And in the sheet metal area, what we usually do is we're fabricating light gauge metals. We're fabricating metals that are under 1/8 of an inch thick. And that can be anything from a bird feeder to a piece of ductwork. And what we have here is a CNC plasma cutting machine, which is driven by a computer. You know, we often think of welding as not being a real technology involved field. This is a standard piece of cutting equipment found in the field today. My students not only learn to draw on it, in other words, do CAD drafting, but they also learn how to program it so that the actual computer can drive the bug that cuts the metal, and it will basically cut any shape that you want to cut or anything you want to cut out.
How much are computers used nowadays, would you say, in this industry?
I would say in this industry today, they're up to about 50%. Not only is this computerized, but the majority of the welding equipment that we used is computerized. So you're having to become more and more familiar with computer technology to function as a welder and a fabricator. Well, here's a really good example of technology. The whole front of this welder is a computer keypad. In the old days, when I learned to weld, all you could adjust was bolts and amps. Now in welding, technology has done this. We control the sine wave. We control the electrical wave. On this machine, I can program it to do 24 different programs. That's where welding is going. That's where welding is. It's only going to get more intense with computers. This is one example of what students learn to train on. We have integration with machining, which is a necessity. In the welding and machining, they almost totally go together. Drafting allows us to design the project. We also would incorporate something like auto body for the finishing of the project, painting, and then on top of that, we would have all of the academic subjects. Math, super important in anything we do in this arena. Welding, English, knowing how to write and read a work order.
What about chemistry?
Chemistry,
Dealing with gases?
probably the biggest academic area that applies to our shop is science. Everything we do in here is science. We work with metals, from the basic metals, from casting them to a finished metal in which it could be a high quality metal like Inconel or nickel or chromium. So we learn on all facets of metals. Science, absolutely ultra important.
Futures Fast Forward is brought to you in part by Du Bois Business College, providing quality post-secondary education for over a century. Their commitment is to develop programs that enable their graduates to be successful in their field of study. And they work closely with businesses and set programs that correctly mirror current industry trends and the modern use of technology. With 3 campuses in central Pennsylvania, Du Bois Business College can help you touch your future faster. Visit them on the web at dbcollege.com. This episode of Futures Fast Forward is brought to you by our friends at Miller Welding and Machine Company. Founded in 1963, Miller Welding and Machine Company of Brookville, Pennsylvania is a single-source solution encompassing fabrication, machining, and finishing technologies aimed to meet the wide range of needs that our customers demand. Staffed with a team of engineers and highly skilled employees, our quality and our commitment make us a leader in this industry. We provide our customers with high-quality parts by continually improving the processes we use, and we provide our employees a safe and satisfying work environment and invest in their futures by constantly investing in new technologies. 2 readily accessible state-of-the-art facilities accommodate our workforce of over 300 highly skilled employees. For current news and employment opportunities, visit our website at www.millerwelding.com. Welcome to Jeff Tech, the school of choice. The IT industry is a dynamic entrepreneurial working environment that has a revolutionary impact on our economy and society. IT careers involve the design, development, support, and management of hardware, software, multimedia, and systems integration services. Through interactive media, network systems, information support service, programming, software development, and web page design, and management information systems. Get your career going today at the IT Academy at Jeff Tech, the school of choice.
We get to go see the robots.
This is a Motoman robotic welding cell. It's set up on a carousel so that we can load one side while the other side is operating. Right now they're just getting ready to change over a workpiece here. When they do, the part will go into the work zone. We have to look through a ultraviolet screen here, otherwise we'll get welders flash. But the robot is actually in there moving around, doing the touch sensing right now of the part.
Right now what it's doing, the robot is going through and it's storing information. It's basically what it's saying is, all right, I'm finding all the places I want you to weld, and it's storing it in the computer here.
That is really cool.
Then when it goes to weld, the robot's going to say to the computer, okay, I'm ready to weld. What do you want me to weld?
Wow. Can you imagine the programming that has to go into that?
And he goes, okay, I stored this in information number 1. I want you to go and weld number 1. That's basically what it is. It's really elementary. But this is the brains of the whole operation. This costs $6,000 itself. If the robot comes down and it'll touch sense these 2 spots, it'll come over here and touch sense these, and then it knows it has to weld there. And it'll weld in that seam. If I move that seam over here, it'll follow it. It'll track the seam. This part that we're welding right now takes roughly 17 minutes total from beginning to end with the touch sense and the welding. Here, an hour and a half manually.
So you're saving a lot of time on
Oh.
This of course is welding two heads are welding at the same time. This machine will index these parts around and do the second side of them too. Right now it's 2 robot arms are welding on one side. The part will rotate and then it'll weld on the other side. And when these parts come out, they will be 100% done. We've already ahead of time tack welded them, and then when we just put them into this fixture here, this robot it will do the complete job. Application for the robotic welding here.
Our exploration continues. We are at Miller Welding and Machine Company in Brookville, Pennsylvania. And, Mr. Dave Miller, president of the company. We're going to find out a little bit about what it takes to make a shop like this tick and how his experience in career and technical education helped him get where he is today.
My father founded the firm in 1963. There was 6 kids in our family at the time, and I was unsure as to whether I was going to be able to go on to college. So knowing the business, knowing some of the activity that goes on, I chose to go into drafting design at Jeff Tech. As I went through that program, I had an excellent instructor in Bob Hetrick, and Bob has been a good friend for many years since. But that particular training got me ready for college. I went on to college and graduated as an industrial engineer at Lehigh University.
From your own personal standpoint, why did you make the decision to apply your engineering degree and your experience in drafting to what it is that your family's doing here? You could have went in any direction.
Well, I could have went in any direction, but I mean, I like this area. I like the kind of always had a little bit of pride, I guess, in what my father had started, and I wanted to continue it on. At the time I came back from college, we employed at that point about 30 people. So over the course of the years that I've been back, we've grown significantly. and I'm glad that I had a part in that.
That's great. So from an entrepreneurial standpoint, somebody who's interested in building up a business, what advice could you give to them? I mean, I'm sure it's not all sun and roses. There has to be some struggles along the way, huh?
Well, there's a lot of struggles. There's a lot of problems that need to be solved, and oftentimes, we've said that had we known what all those problems were, we might not have done it.
Sure. Well, so life is like that. Sure,
that's correct. But I think the biggest thing is that you just need to work hard. You just need to stay focused and not get discouraged. To be in business, you have to be an optimist.
Yeah.
And you have to have some confidence in yourself and in your abilities and your ability to put together a team that can accomplish the goal.
The St. Louis Arch is probably one of the best known American icons of the artistic expression of this industry. This arch, located near the starting point of the Lewis and Clark expedition, stands 630 feet tall, 630 feet wide at the base, and was finished on October 28, 1965. This piece of uniquely American artistry is today still a marvel of technology and imagination. Now back at Jeff Tech, imagination also plays a huge part in the welding and metal fabrication program.
The theme of each sculpture has to deal with the groundhog or the weather in some way. And this year's sculptures, of course, we have the groundhog. We're making a downsized, fantastic feel, riding his hog over there. His hog's sitting there waiting for him. And the other sculpture is a sundial. We'll have 12 little groundhogs that represent each month around the outside, and on the top it's an actual working sundial, and it'll have silhouettes of groundhogs holding it up.
When you think of a career in technical school, or what your daddy used to call a vo-tech, and you think of metal fab or welding, you don't think of art, and you're focusing on that. Tell us a little bit about what this could mean by way of career choices for kids who see that aspect of what it is that you teach.
The wonderful thing about that is if I would have brought it with me, the Welding Journal for February, the cover of the Welding Journal is Welders in Sculpture. And it's actually become a career path. It's becoming more and more a career path. And what's great about it is that most of the metal sculptures out there that are working, large corporations are paying for the sculptures to be created, so the money's there to do it, and if you become good at it and if you work at it, you can have a career in it, and it's a wonderful career. You can travel all over the country doing this sort of thing. The great thing about the whole project coming down here is it teaches teamwork, which is great. It allows the students to function without the teacher being right there micromanaging.
Right. Welding and metal fabrication is like any career choice. You pick your path, you focus on getting the education you need to get started, and then you get to work at the entry level, and you build a lucrative career based on your experiences. Whatever aspect of this industry you elect to pursue, there's really no limit to the possibilities, but success doesn't happen overnight, and it takes hard work, a willingness to learn, and acceptance of new technologies.
Started out as a one-person firm. Today we employ 320 people. We run 2 shifts. We serve original equipment manufacturers in the construction equipment market, the material handling industry, various other industries around the country and around the world.
This is actually a boom section for a aerial man lift is what these particular components are used for, and all of these parts are manufactured here at this facility.
Here we're at our powder paint line. You can see some painted parts going by us right here. The booth is in front of us. This particular line runs on electrostatic attraction, so the powder attracts to the part. There's pieces ready to come in. There's 12 automatic guns, and then the people in the booth actually do what we call reinforcing, where the Faraday cage effect causes the powder to kind of repel from the corners, and they go in and they actually touch that area up. There's electric eyes on the other side of this machine that actually measures the part as they go by the electric eyes, and it self-adjusts to
to accommodate whatever size the part might be. You can see the control panel and the sophistication that goes into this type of equipment. This, again, is something where, you know, not just anybody is going to run. You know, the people have to be highly trained and highly skilled to operate this machine. Here are some parts that are coming off of the paint line. The pieces are being dropped down to be taken off the line right at the moment. After they get these pieces off the line, they'll hang some new pieces to go back on. This particular line here, from the time we put something on it until it comes off painted, is about 2 hours. And whenever the part comes off, it's completely cured, ready to go. It's ready to be worked with. We have one of the assembly lines. You can see it's actually starting to put together all the parts with all the cylinders, hoses, electrical wiring, and so forth.
What's this?
This is where they assemble the parts.
The assembly?
They assemble them, yeah.
After it's together, we'll do even a test to make sure everything is assembled correctly. He's tightening up the hoses, the fittings on the end of the hoses right there. And he's actually got a special torque wrench in his hand that says when the fitting is the correct torque. Okay, we're assembling the fly boom into the base boom here. We're putting the wear pads on the end of the fly boom. And this boom will be installed inside this boom. And so when it's done, it will extend out and it will have a longer reach. Now we're putting the power track on the outside of the base boom, and then when both of these parts are done, we'll put them together. We do have fittings already flushed with protectors to keep contamination out of any hydraulic lines. The location over there is doing the final assembly. In this location here, we're doing the next part. So they're getting it started. By the time this gets done, that one will be out. And of course, they'll start on the next one over here then. So we're just continuing to put these parts together.
We have one packaged up to ship out right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, something like that.
That is a scissor lift. They actually put like a big platform on.
Oh, okay.
So, and, I mean, you can have parties on them. The platforms are so big.
There you go. Party on the scissor boom.
Five of us can get on it with no problem. That's how big they are.
If you enjoy the full episodes of Futures Fast Forward, be sure to join us online for all the fun that doesn't make it on TV. There's no better way to learn about opportunity in PA than to experience it firsthand. FuturesFastForward.com.
Did you learn anything on your adventure today in taping and in touring our facility about manufacturing?
No, not really.
Not at all?
No, I'm just playing. I learned a lot. I've once again learned that there's more to an industry than meets the eye. Like I was saying earlier, you think of welding, you think of the old, rough welding gear, the guy covered in grease, the old welding mask, which is still true. That's one of the most important applications. But as we learned today, there are so many other things you can do besides just that, and especially the computers. When you showed us the IT, that you're using computer and technology and utilizing it with a manufacturing job. So yes, I learned a lot.
Well, let me ask you, what did you learn?
The best sort of candy is the free kind.